and thank you for joining us on Better Biz. You know, emotional stories are something that businesses really want to engage with more and more. And I don't think there's anyone better to tell emotional stories than a funeral director. So we've got Maureen from Elite Funerals joining us today.
Hello, Anthony. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Maureen, I wanted to ask you a story a little bit about to do with Jess, and we're talking about here a widow with two young children and a funeral that happened quite suddenly, I believe.
Yeah.
Tell me that story and how you dealt with that and the family's response.
Yeah, Jess came to us. She heard about me from a woman in her mother's group. I'd helped her family a couple of years previously, and they just had a no service, no attendance cremation. But I think the fact that I was able to go to their home and help them organise that gave them a bit more of a personal touch. They were quite happy with that. So Jess's husband had quite an aggressive form of cancer. He had been told that day that he really didn't have much longer. So she came to visit us with his cousin, and this cousin they were like brothers, very, very close. And Di and I both sat down with them and discussed what was important to them. We spoke about things like the colour of the coffin. It didn't need to be a standard wooden coloured coffin. They ended up choosing a duck egg blue. Diane mentioned the importance of having the coffin on site. It can be a very powerful focus there, and it was quickly decided that was something that they did want. And they left here with lots of different things to think about, but they left with the knowledge that pretty much whatever they wanted, we would facilitate for them. So when we got the call, it was about 2 or 3 weeks later that he had passed away. Things were put into plan there. We managed to find a beautiful venue that was a perfect mix of indoor and outdoor. Beautiful floral arrangements. It was perfect. It was a beautiful day. One of the most moving elements was that they'd spent a lot of time putting together these little tributes for people to wear, and it was a little card attached to a piece of an olive tree. So it basically just said, "Thank you for loving Philip," and I thought that was beautiful. The photo slideshow that they showed had some footage from their wedding videos spliced into it, and that brought me to tears. It was so beautiful. They had such a short time together, but there was clearly so much love there, and you just got this feeling that there was a whole chapter of their lives that their two children would never know. So I was very surprised a couple of weeks later when Jess asked if she could come to the funeral home to collect Phil's ashes. She brought one of Phil's friends, Ben, with her, and we sat chatting, and we were just about to finish up, and he said, "Oh, I've got one question." I was like, "Yep, what is it?" "Can you come and join us for a drink at a pub across the road?" And I'm like, "Oh, I couldn't possibly do that. I've got work to do." And Di was like, "Nope, off you go. Go for a drink." So the three of us went, and Phil was there in his little ash container, and Ben bought a beer for him, wine for me, a cider for Jess, and the four of us sat there and had a drink and raised a toast. And one of the biggest compliments I'll ever get from a family that I've helped is hearing whoever has died would love to have met me. I think that shows that they've chosen the right person to look after their family, and they're left with positive memories of a really horrible time.
I think that's it's an extraordinary gift to be able to give families that. And I think it's quite amazing to that idea that people will come back and say, "Come over and have a drink with us and share in that celebration because you were such an important part of it."
Definitely. Yeah, I've had some beautiful moments. There was one lady we helped a couple of years ago. Her and her husband had just had a beautiful trip of a lifetime across the world, come home. She'd gone back to work and came home, and he'd died suddenly. He had a stroke. And she was bewildered, as you would be. And at that point, I wasn't as present at a lot of services as I am these days, but I wanted to go to that one. And when I went to her home a few weeks later to deliver his ashes, she said to me, I wasn't sure whether you'd be there or not. So when I looked up and saw that you were there, I felt like I did when I saw my obstetrician when I was having my babies. I knew everything was going to be okay. And I thought that's such a pivotal moment in someone's life, having a baby, to equate my presence with seeing your obstetrician was very moving.
Maureen, thank you for joining us today and sharing stories with us. How do people continue that conversation if they want to learn more about the services that you offer?
People are welcome to visit our website at elitefunerals.com.au. It's well resourced, and if there's anything else people need to know, feel free to give us a call on 9787 4677. We'll be happy to speak to you.